Hey, I want to give you guys a really quick rundown of my rig and how it's set up and the extreme and really pretty amazing things you can do with the routing built into it. Just to give you a little back up here and show you what I've got for the setup. I'm running basically an AXFX along with the Helix, and I'm using the floor unit here. Over here, this is my previous pedal board, I guess you call it, the G system, which is really good for some basic MIDI control, but obviously I had to go with the pedals to go with the Helix. So really quickly, here's what's going on. Up here in the upper left, what I'm doing is I'm coming in through the mic input, which gives me a little extra boost of gain, dropping into a pitch over there to give me the ability to tune and drop down when I need to. Next up is the wah. Then I'm doing a phaser, flanger, and chorus. Now this is the preamp effects loadout. Okay, the next thing it would run into would be my FX Loop 1, which is an external or off-board overdrive. The next in Loop 3 is my G system, so I still have that plugged in. Next up is the signal chain here gets split. It goes out the digital interface, which is I'm using the AES interface, and it goes into my AXFX. That means I'm able to pipe the signal through that and use the amps that are in the AXFX right alongside whatever I'm doing in the Helix. Okay. Now the other channel gets split and goes out to an overdrive, which then goes into a 4-cable method routing for my EVH 5150 you see over there. It's got superb sound, and I had to have a good old-fashioned analog amp in the mix. Okay, so now we've got two chains going on here. One has gone out to the AX, one has covered the split to go to the 5150, and that of course goes straight out. And I just send it to USB as kind of a null device, because the actual last thing it does is it goes back into the power amp of the amp. So this is 4-cable method. If you don't know what that is, look it up. It's a very cool way of being able to do things before and after the preamp on most amps with an effects loop. Now, after it comes back from the AXFX, I'm taking the same signal, which, by the way, this is what I'm doing over here on the AX. Nothing incredibly complicated there. Right now, I'm just using 1 amp. I split the signal into 2 paths, stereo path, left and right, and it's split again as it exits the AXFX. So when it comes back into the Helix, after going from the digital interface, which gives me a lot of clarity, no noise, really just a supremely clean signal, very clean. I split it back out into right and left channels using the pan device there. One goes into a overdrive. The Helix is Panama amp, of course, because you got to do that. I'm using an IR, and then of course with some delay and reverb and out the door. I use post at the very end of the chain is an EQ. I use that also for volume control. The other channel, which is the one that's using the amp, this would normally be an amp here in the Helix. I'm actually using the amp that is over there in the AXFX. So when it comes back in, I don't do anything else except for send it through a delay, reverb, EQ, and back out. And that's pretty much it. But that is incredibly cool, and as you can hear from the sound here, I'm going to just put the camera down so you can hear it, so I can just strum a chord. Just supreme sound. It's the sound I've always wanted. I've finally been able to get to, and yes, I know eventually it's going to have to be tweaked more and more and more, but for now I am extremely happy with the power and capability of the Helix. I hope this was informational. If you guys have any questions, I'll try and leave some sort of contact method along with this video. But again, it's a pretty simple rig setup. I use snapshots to switch between my clean and affected channels. I don't use stomp just because it's easier to do it, and I get more options on the little ground control for the Helix than if I did a split. So that's all I'm doing, using snapshots, which gives me very lightning fast switching between sounds and between channels, and it just sounds awesome. Anyway, can't rave about it enough. Just letting you know that there is some incredible stuff you can do if you just use your imagination with the routing capabilities of the Helix. And a quick little addendum, I also have a patch that is only the Helix, meaning it sends everything over and bypasses the AX, which is a pretty obvious addition, and has 2 amps in parallel. One goes to a cabinet, one goes to an FR speaker. And I also have the patch, which allows me to use only the Axe effects, meaning I just took the other patch that had the Helix mixed in with it and send it out to the Axe. Axe can give me its amps and come right back in, and I can process it and even use IRs from the Helix. So there you go. If you're interested in getting any of these patches, or you would like me to upload them to you, hey, no problem. Just contact me at carloszuma.com. That's CARLOSXUMA.com. Use the contact form on the site, and I will get back to you. Just make sure you put in there that you're contacting me about the guitar patches for the Helix instead of what else is at the site. I'll be talking again. Thanks, man.